Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us today on the WWE save where we are now at our second Clash of the Champions. Last year we got an 80 rated show with an attendance of 24,000. Now whilst we should easily surpass the attendance figure, the show rating obviously depends on how good a promo we can cut over the show and how our main event does. A quick reflection back to last year will show you that the main event was Drew McIntyre defending the WWE title against Seth Rollins and retaining it as well. Drew's in the main event this year. He is challenging the champion Angel Garza after the Andrade program was closed pretty quickly because they don't click together. So Drew's been drafted in as the number one contender. Other things to note is there is still a lot of guys off the card, a lot of guys and girls I should say. So it's supporting my thinking that as soon as WrestleMania comes around next year, we'll go to branded pay-per-views because you have no Braun in the show, no Andrade, no Bray Wyatt, and that's just naming three. You could go Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. The list would go on, and we've maxed out the full 225 minutes that are available for this show. But we're on Bell TV, Canal Sat, Direct TV, Dish Mexico, main event, Sky Box Office, Sky Perfect, and the WWE Network. This is Clash of the Champions, and remember, if you do enjoy what we do here, the sub button just allows you to have all these videos drop into your inbox, but WWE will tend to be every Monday and Friday, with AEW every Wednesday, and the WWF save every Saturday, if I remember off the top of my head. And if you want to buy the game, links in the description below, as well as the forums and the Fantasy Rookers subreddit. So, without further ado, this is the Clash of the Champions 2021. So we're at the University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico, just under 40,000 in attendance. And we went with something a wee bit different. Instead of like a hype package, obviously we can't really do a sports entertainment package for a pay-per-view opening, that's not realistic. So what I've done here to get the good opening rating was, why not start the pay-per-view with just a Miz and kind of like a video vignette type thing, but just completely by-rating his opponent tonight, Big E. So just saying, you know, just a constant video bigging up the Miz, just of how he deserves to be champion, how he beat Matt Riddle, and then just all of Big E's failures documented after that. So I feel like that's a good way to open the show, and it gives us a good benchmark with that 87 rating, so we don't have as much pressure on tonight's main events. Wrestling wise, we started with a 8-man tag, and it was the Undisputed Era, Cole, Strong, O'Reilly and Fish against the Magnificent Sevens, Barthel, Eichner, Drake and Gibson. And we'd about that had subpar wrestling and little heat, as the UE defeated the Magnificent Seven in 11:56 when Adam Cole pinned Fury and Eichner with the flying crossbody. So just continuing the war, it's going to take a good bit of time to get them over. But Adam Cole with the best performance here, as the UE and of course their alliance with the Disciples of Rollins gets the upper hand so far on the Magnificent Seven. We then had Timothy Thatcher pretty much give away the result of the next match, so that's my problem. 68 rated, as you'll see. Timothy Thatcher goes ahead and wins the United States Championship, and about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as he submitted Fury with the Thatcher stretch. Timothy Thatcher, your United States Champion, a 68 rating. I did have to keep Austin Theory looking strong here, but I felt like if we're truly to take the Magnificent Seven as a serious stable, then at least need one of the lower belts, so they now have two. So they have the US belts, and they've also got the Tag Team Championships with the Grizzled Young Veterans. So when you've got a lot of segments, you can sometimes mix them up in order, and unfortunately I've done that. So I've got 25 segments today. But yeah, Timothy Thatcher, straight up from NXT as part of Magnificent Seven, and is your United States Champion. Move along now, we've got a hype package, just a video documenting Vanessa Bourne. Of course, our idea is to try and get her as over as we can without actually wrestling, so 23 for that. We have the Women's Championship on the line from SmackDown, and this was a terrible matchup that saw Rhea Ripley defeat Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in 11:39 when Rhea pinned Alexa with Soul Food. This was the 6th defence of the championship. She carried the match up Honestly, it was meant to be Rhea versus Alexa. They had poor chemistry, so I decided to throw Nikki Cross in as well. Alexa takes the loss. There's people like Sasha who probably deserve another chance, but I can't really justify them losing again because there's bigger plans for them in the future, so just decided to keep Sasha off the show. Backstage though, we have the Raw Women's Champion Shayna Baszler, and she's just picking on Bayley. She's bullying her, and she just beats her up backstage. It was a good performance from Shayna, and I got a segment rating of 61. Then I have a promo with Johnny Gargano, and he says it's a travesty that Roman Reigns won the championship belt at SummerSlam, meaning he was a week off becoming champion for a full year, but he's got Candice in his corner, and he's not scared of the big dog in any sort of way. Which of course left to the big dog winning. Superb matchup. Roman Reigns defeats Johnny Gargano in 1826 with a spear. Roman Reigns makes his second defence of the IC title. So a 79 for them. Both guys have good chemistry together. Just Byron being pretty weak. Moving along, Seth Rollins cuts a promo on Walter. You could say these guys are the head of the factions of the Undisputed Era and Disciples of Rollins and the Magnificent Seven, and they'll do battle in a great war tonight. The segment was a 78, and the storyline advances, gains heat, as well as Seth Rollins getting better at his gimmick. Match itself actually quite subpar. I'm disappointed in that. Didn't even have to protect Rollins in any sort of way, as you can see, simple victory. I bet they had great wrestling and good heat. Walter defeated Seth Rollins in 1950 with the Golden Bomb. You've got to establish him somehow. Dominant victory here. I can only assume maybe the lack of heat in the storyline. Walter's poor gimmick could be a big factor as well. The storyline not so much because I have turned strict storylines off so I can fantasy book a bit quicker. But yeah, a bit disappointed. Expected that to do a lot better than it did. Moving along. There's a bit of a confrontation on SmackDown, but Karrion Kross says he doesn't want people like Edge getting in his way, as he wants to become Universal Champion, so he's going to dispose of Edge and get back on the right path as quickly as possible. That was a 79. Match itself was a 68. I had Edge go over Karrion Kross in 13:33 with a spear. 68, Edge off his game, not great. You're probably thinking, why would you put Edge over? You try to build new stars. True, Edge isn't the most over, he's only like 70 odd over because I did job him out a bit, and I kind of would like his name value to be still quite high. So at WrestleMania he can still be in big feuds, so he's not kind of just like taking up a spot in the roster where he's kind of near useless because he's not over and his physical decline's a bit iffy. So he takes the one here over Karrion Kross. I did actually have to protect Karrion Kross, so that was kept him strong, so that kind of put a wee bit off the rating as well, but disappointed only got a 68. And after the match-up, Karrion Kross gets his revenge, just beats Edge down. Got to keep him strong, got to keep the youngster a bit. Obviously going to have frustration that Edge has beat him. When I say youngster, I mean he's young compared to Edge. But the 88 in there, both guys come across well, which is good. So hopefully they can both benefit from that. Moving along, we then have a promo with the Robert Stone brand. He's bigging up the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions, Jenny and Aaliyah. 31. Kind of locked into the belts. I kind of forgot to give Ruby Riott a new contract. She left, she's re-signed, and yeah, we just decided we'll put the belts on Jenny and Aaliyah just so the title lineage doesn't go champions, vacant champions. So naturally, you do what you do. Shuffle threat match for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and the Punk Rock Chicks win them for the second time. They win them back. So Ruby Riott and Shotzi Blackheart defeat Aaliyah, and Jenny and the Iconics in 8:44, with Aaliyah and Jenny going first, then the Iconics. The second reign begins of the Punk Rock Chicks. You can see there in terms of in-ring performance, just ahead of the Iconics, but Jenny and Aaliyah were just not over enough to carry them, and I didn't want my title lineage to go champions, vacant champions, so they got a free title run out of it, but the belts are back on the Punk Rock Chicks. We then moved on to the Women's Championship on Raw, and this actually disappointed me, a 60. I was hoping this would be a lot better. We had a decent matchup as we had Io Shirai defeat Shayna Baszler At 14:08 with a German suplex following interference from Becky Lynch, who's of course back from her maternity leave, and Io Shirai becomes your new Raw Women's Champion. So a 60 rating there. We did have to keep Shayna Baszler looking strong, but yes, a bit disappointed. We turned the Io babyface the last couple of weeks with a beatdown for Shayna, and it's all going to be apparent in the next few segments why that decision was made. So first up we have Becky Lynch then beat down Shayna Baszler, which is a 76, but as Becky tries to leave the ring, there's a heated confrontation with the returning Ronda Rousey, which drew an 87 as well. Security stops them from fighting, and Ronda debuts the MMA badass gimmick, which had an initial rating of adequate. So my thinking here was, we obviously have a lot of women that we need to get over. Becky was returning always at this point in time, September, so she's back. She's over. And naturally, Ronda's over, so you're going to bring her in as well. And then you've got two women who can kind of hopefully elevate the division and carry people up. None of them need the title. Shayna's going to get involved with these two, so there's absolutely no point in Shayna having the title, and that allows Io Shirai, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Ruby Riott, all these kind of people can fight over the championship, and then when the time's right, Becky and Ronda can face them, and then we can help elevate, and hopefully our women's division absolutely thrives with that. Imagine we just scrapped a Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, gave them their own brand, and how stacked that women's roster would be. Maybe one day. Next up, Big E cuts his promo. It's a 78 as he's going for the Universal Championship. He says he respects his brothers Kofi and Xavier for letting him go on this solo run, and he says if he can beat someone, he can certainly beat The Miz. So he's hoping this is his opportunity. He'll have Xavier Woods in his corner. The Miz will have Maurice in his, and the matchup unfortunately was only a 77, which is a bit disappointing considering The Miz had an in-ring rating of 87. But a superb matchup saw The Miz defeat Big E in 14-14 by using the skull-crushing finale following interference from Maurice, giving him his first defence of the Universal title. I think one of the reasons why it is only a 77 is the way the product's going to be going. World-class scores cannot be achieved under 15 minutes, and I've just went under that to fit stuff in. And I didn't feel these two going long against each other would be for the best, but at the end of the day, it still gives Big E a massive spotlight. Miz is the champion of SmackDown, thoroughly deserves it, and the only negatives there. Byron, you better improve, Byron, or you're going to get sacked. Don't forget, we've got up-and-comers like Tommy Dreamer and Xbox, X-Pac in our Legends house, so there's plenty of announcers coming through. So main event time, Drew's promo was an 87 as he hypes up him versus Garza, just basically saying he wants his championship back. It's been a long time away from him, and he's determined to beat Angel Garza. The match itself was an 82, so again, just struggling to get that great matchup on this particular mod. My WWE save I was getting 96s, but I've struggled to get it here, but we'll keep going. We will, as I say, hopefully get there eventually, but as I say, this save is to last the whole time of TW, but a superb matchup regardless. Angel Garza defeats Drew McIntyre in 23-40 with El Marito after Zelina Vega interfered, giving Angel Garza the third defence of the WWE Championship. So 82 plays 85. The segment was an 82, and just Byron Saxton's announcing. Maybe Road Agent Mark Evans should be penalised, because, I wonder how some of his booking is. Overall, show was an 82. It doesn't result in any popularity changes. No gains, no losses. Overall, though, I'd say it's a pretty solid show. A lot of dark green ratings, couple of promos there into the light blue, but overall, I thought it was decent. Not great, but decent. We'll take a wee note back into the home screen. We'll see if there's anything that any news that shows something happening in the world, and PopCap of certain superstars that competed at the Night of Champions event, and then we'll look at what's going forward basically. I'm kind of lucky with NXT. I've got like a 12-week gap between takeovers, so that I'm building up. Sami Zayn has went back to NXT, so the plan is for NXT Takeover War Games to have Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn for the championship. There we go. Massive majority enjoyed the show. Torch just passed for Ice Ribbon. Anything else there? Havoc has won the Knockouts Women's Championship. Victory Road had 5,500 fans at it. Lana Austin's injured. And AAA are going to give Australian Suicide a new contract. Us. And that's just Brent Tate getting a new deal for NXT UK for an extra year. Oh aye, we're looking to bring back John Cena. Just to give Raw some more star power. And Shawn Michaels is just for another contract as a road agent. So a few deals I'll need to sort out. That's one for Sky Box Office, one for DirecTV. Joseph Connors will need to get his development contract extended with NXT UK, that's fine. Eva Lise, I think, will probably make the move up to NXT. If she's a bit more over, I'd move her to the main roster. We do have a lot of females that are kind of in like that kind of low 40, kind of that 40 to 50 over in this bracket on the main roster, so I'm kind of trying to get them to get on NXT. If I can push them to 60 over in this, and then for there they can crack on. But it's a stacked women's division on NXT as well, which is why I've had to extend NXT to 3 hours, and still many people are missing out on television. 6.3 million people viewed the show, of which there was a buy rate of 4.04, 2 million pay-per-view buys. So, these things we'll check quickly. In terms of attendance, it was our 8th attended show there. In terms of buy rate, it was our 4th one, which is not bad because it's just under Extreme Rules, and then the 2 bigger events, WrestleMania and SummerSlam, surpass it. And obviously you wonder, like, why is it a lot poorer last year to this year? Well, last year we were predominantly on the network, and then we moved to the various places that we could put pay-per-view, and obviously change the time slot as well. So when you get prime time, you're going to get more of these and less of these. Crown Jewel was just a disaster. I'll actually get that coming up soon, so that's going to be fun. I'll maybe look to alter that. I'll get like a 3-week build to Hell in a Cell, and then we'll see what we're going to do with Crown Jewel. Because if I run it in Saudi Arabia or India in this case, we are guaranteed to lose Pop, which is not ideal. So in terms of people that were on the show, Adam Cole gained a wee bit over this. He's dropped a good little bit because we were kind of using him to put other people over, considering how over he was in May. It's a big loss, but we can get him back. We know what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build up Walter and Thatcher, so we need him to be kind of that guy. Andrade's still pretty over in most places. Angel Garza probably getting 1 over in most places to about an 86, so I'd say that's a success. Austin Theory, not really any loss despite losing to Timothy Thatcher. Becky's gained a bit of pop just with some angles. I've never had her wrestle yet. Big E, there you go. That is what you call gaining popularity despite losing. So good on Big E. That feud with the Miz has certainly done him a bit of wonders. Who else have we got that's been on pay-per-view? Edge. There you go, that's massive gains from Edge. Probably at 7 or 8 overness in some places. So really happy we're getting Edge. Probably as close to as over as he's ever been in this save, which is quite mad. Other people that participated, Io Shirai, 58. I think that's a massive gain for Io. 4 over. It's not quite the most over she's ever been, but we'll work with her, that's for sure. Other major players, Johnny Gargano, roughly about the same. Karrion Kross, I would actually say, despite losing the Edge, actually gained overness. Yeah, you can look at that, 80, 86 somewhere. So yeah, some places he's benefited from a very good push since coming up from NXT. So I'm really happy with Karrion Kross's progress. Matt Riddle wasn't even on the show, but still reasonably well over. This is one I'm iffy with Paige. She's never really gained anything. but I've mostly obviously used her as a manager, so like she's maybe getting like 1 or 2 pop over her career, but if I want her as like a 90 rated manager, you have to look into some new things to try and get her there. Roman Reigns will be next, and he is sitting at 82, 81. He's kind of a wee bit struggling to break that cap, but still good. Robert Stone I want to check for the reason is he's obviously getting a lot of showcase. He's getting like 1 a month, so he's slowly getting over as a manager. Obviously he's with the Robert Stone brand and those workers. Seth, 74, 72, 72, not bad. Shayna, didn't even lose anything with that loss to Io Shirai, so I'm hoping her v Becky can keep her going. She's not really gained too much over about a year. Get Shotzi in at 50, and The Miz, there you go. More and more over. The man has broke 91 over, and I believe the Midwest that would be. So for a guy that a year ago was sitting in like 68 over, in the last couple of months, especially just giving him a title, has just carried it, and that pop cap loosening a little bit has just put everything on The Miz. So yeah, the champ is here. Thatcher gets over in a few places, he's doing not too bad. And the Vanessa Bourne project so far has seen gains of absolutely nothing. So we'll keep at it, but I'll maybe see if we need to go another approach and actually give her matches. And last but not least, Walter, 74, 75, that's from his one over Seth. Obviously he's got the white hot momentum as well. It's been a good gain since NXT, up about 13 with those matches at SummerSlam and Clash of Champions. So that's it for this particular episode. The next one will be Hell in a Cell, and after that we'll make a decision what we're going to do with Crown Jewel. So take it easy, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye bye.